Let's talk, people. Let's talk. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Let's talk hip hop. Let's talk hip hop. Hitboy. Nas. Here we go, right? Vlad TV did it again, right? Vlad TV done did it again. Um, a little bit disappointed, right? In the fact that I heard Vlad interview Hitboy, and Hitboy said he ain't talked to Nas in over 3 years, and it led me to sit up here and to just start thinking. First off, um, let me say we Vlad. And second off, right, is one of the first times that we didn't see Nas really drop albums as far as many as he did. They said Hit Boy said 80 songs, right? 80 songs. That's impressive, right? That's impressive for both of them, right? For both of them. And Hit Boy was doing stuff with his dad as well as with Alchemist. So, we get it. What happens, I think, in the music industry is you have relationships and then you have business relationships, right? I don't know. And of course, on the outside looking in, we can only imagine that technically it was a business relationship, right? You got the beats, I got the rhymes. Let's see what happens. Now, I will say this: out of all the Nas albums that we've heard, for what is it? I forget which album got his Nas first Grammy. Right, I don't know if it was King Disease or if it was Magic. I forget what Magic it was, but I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Now, when I go back and listen to the projects, the beats is there. Of course, you got old Nas. You got Nas. So you're gonna have the lyrics. But what I felt, right, is out of all the producers, it was Nas and Hit Boy, right, which was a little bit okay, but I get it. I don't sometimes expect, like, look at Watch the Throne, beautiful album, right? That's it. They don't even talk no more. So sometimes, as a fan, and we've gotten used to that, even as a Nas and AZ album, we ain't got a Nas and AZ album, right? We ain't get no Nas and AZ album. We can say, well, their friendship is bigger than the business relationship. However it is, to see Hit Boy get on there and say, me and Nas ain't talked in a couple years, I feel like that it makes y'all product a little bit loose, if you feel me, right? It makes the product a little bit loose because to me, on some real shit, you could have just been quiet about the Nas situation. Or you're a creative ass person here, boy, you could have put it in a song. Maybe you already have. I don't know. But what I do know is Vlad, I don't want to see Nas and Hit Boy into something based off of Vlad. Do you get what I'm saying? That shit doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. In the music industry, there is no friends. Okay? Everybody is trying to come up in some way or form. They're trying to promote their album, trying to come out with an album. So I'm a little bit confused in why Hit Boy would do it, but Hit Boy has his reasons. Now, okay, there's two sides to a story. Okay, now I will say this. I will say this, right? Let's go on the other side. When it comes to Nas, this is kind of what we've heard though throughout Nas's career as far as him and proteges go, right? And not saying that Hit Boy is Nas protege. Please don't. I'm not saying that because Hit Boy before he was making beats for Nas, he was all around. So I'm not saying that as far as that. But what I mean is, you know how like everybody get on Jay about like the Rockefeller breakup. Well, Nas had some nice artists too. Okay, so I feel like this one, technically, this might sound crazy because I know I'm talking about it. There ain't really none of our business if two parties don't want it out, right? But the reason why I wanted to make a video about it is because it's just interesting. Hip hop is interesting, right? Hell, P Rock and CL Smooth not even cool no more. So guess what? It's a little bit different. As far as this hip hop goes, Nas and Hit Boy, all it takes is one song, right? It takes one song. They get in the studio together and all is forgiven. Depending on what happened in the studio prior. We do know Hit Boy was moving a little bit, fast or whatever, but who knows? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? As and Nas is a private person, so I don't think Nas is even gonna say anything. Nas is not gonna say nothing, unless it's probably in a song or something. So I don't think we're gonna get something from Nas. But let's switch gears real quick. Please, please go watch Sue Surf's interview on Hot 97. Some interesting takes, but the one that I want to talk about is the one that I was talking about a couple of days ago, even though I didn't go into detail about it. But let me talk about it, right? Let me talk about it. Sue Surf said his dad was a square, right? And it prompted a lot of people. Basically, he said his dad was a square and that he listened to the Killers, and the Killers told him, go rap, right? You can go listen to it, and you can figure it out on your own, but you can go listen to it. Let me tell you this, right? And I sat back for a long time. And I know I'm about to switch, but for a long time, I hated how Power ended because I felt like Power ended on a fantasy, right? It ended on a fantasy. The nigga's son kills him, right? You could have had anybody else but the son. And as I sit back, right? As I sit back and we look at this hip hop and we see now, right? And it's always been a thing. We all know that parents, fathers, and sons, right? They tend to clash, right? But for you to say your dad doesn't know how it would feel to have ops, that's what he was keeping you from. And it was your choice. See, hip hop has now created this narrative where it is, family members versus family members, right? Let's keep it on it with you. The ego in music is something else. The ego in music is something else, right? We brag on how we knock each other down. We brag on how we take a chick from a nigga, right? We laugh of how we can break into a nigga, how we can break females' hearts, how we a play, how we a pimp. Yet it ain't got nobody nowhere. What I do notice, right? What I have noticed is that some of the squariest niggas has turned into gangsters all of a sudden, right? They done turned into gangsters all of a sudden. The scariest niggas back in the day done turned into gangsters. Now, I'm not saying this is not directed towards Sue Surf or anything, but just as I looked at it back in the day, some of the niggas, they wasn't down like that. You know what I'm saying? But now, if you got a gun, if you got a gun, you become the man automatically. And that motherfucker is on code. And then you become a man automatically. Right? I'm saying. Right? I'm saying. When did parenting? We know, first of all, I was a hothead my damn self. But my pop was in the streets, so therefore I didn't want to be in the streets. Once again, my pops was in the streets. I actually had did licks with my pops. Okay, I didn't have to hit licks with my friends. I had already did it with my pops. Knew how to steal a car, break into a car. A lot of shit I had did with my pops. I didn't have to go do it with friends. So by the time, friends and shit, I didn't want to go do the shit. It was pointless. I had already did it. Pops was in jail for doing the shit. No, no, no. But if this hip hop shit now, violence goes together with hip hop. Violence goes together with hip hop. Right? I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna leave. Check this out. One of the things that we have to stop doing is when we get on this camera, right? When a motherfucker get on this camera, they lose them. They want to tell everything. Niggas want to start telling every fucking thing. Niggas want to tell everything. They get behind the camera. Niggas start making up shit just to feel important. Just to feel important. Just to feel fucking important. For 15 minutes. For 5 minutes. Just to feel important. Niggas will lie. Come on, man. Real quick, interesting, right? We on hip hop. I'm hella late, right? But I want y'all. I happen to just look at some old videos. A Ludacris video came up, right? And I was looking at the Ludacris video. It was playing. I was cleaning up or doing something. And I noticed in the video of Luda Back Down that nigga is talking about Mac Dre in there. And that's the one with the big arms, right? Now, I always had, I thought he was just talking about the Bay Area, because the dude was dressed like a Bay Area dude, right? At least that's, yeah, he was kind of dressed like a Bay Area dude, right? And then I started reading the comments. And in the comments, they was like, yeah, he was dissing Mac Dre, because that really happened. Mac Dre really went, him and Ludacris had like a little conversation in the bathroom. And yeah, that's all I know. And I guess Ludacris took it as Mac Dre was being a groupie. I don't know. And he put out the video. Um, then Mac Dre dies, right? Which is, ironic due to the situation, because, we always heard it was somebody from Kansas City that got, Mac Dre, right? But I just felt like that was real interesting, and I missed that. Nobody said nothing too, honestly, from what was, they said that video came out the same day that Mac Dre died, right? The same day. So, yeah, I guess that's why, you know, it didn't, even the song was, I remember knocking the song, but yeah, I was just kind of taken off guard by that. I was taken off guard. But now, anyway, I didn't want to be on here that long. I'll talk to y'all. I'm going to do another video. I'll talk to y'all in a minute. Peace.